So YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So it has been a day and we were late in showcasing the leaks because of work. So we are here. We are just gonna showcase the deck that this new leaks is gonna be good with, and that is with tier elements. For those who doesn't know, this is the last leaks, or this is the remaining leaks that's gonna be released for the month of September. So alongside Ragnaraka and the new Aroma Mage supports, this is the Lightsworn supports. New Synchro 8 Lightsworn card is pretty broken. So if you want to have floaters in your deck to be directly sent to the graveyard, the new Sync 8 Minerva is the best card for you. And it is generically one tuner and plus one non-tuner monster. So we have 4 new cards added into the game. Let's talk about it. For those who doesn't know about these leaks, so first and foremost, you have Minerva, the Athenian Lightsworn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can send one Lightsworn monster with different types from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you use as this card's material. So 2 cards will be sent to the graveyard. It will trigger their effects, and you have additional monsters on the field that you can use for any fodders. You can banish up to 4 Lightsworn monsters from your graveyard. Send that many cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. So with this, at this point, will grant you additional 4 mills. Now, what other deck that can benefit from this is basically tier elements. And it might not be really prominent in the TCG and OCG is because they don't have Kit Kalos in the TCG and the OCG. Whereas we have 1 copy of Kit Kalos in Master Duel, which is very, very significant at its own right. So that is Minerva. Our Lightsworn Dragonling is one of the best cards as well in gaining access to your Judgment Dragon and your Punishment Dragon. So if you have a Lightsworn monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this, and this will trigger its effect on special summon. You can send 1 Lightsworn card from your deck to your graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 dragon monster with 3000 attack and 2600 defense from your deck to your hand. So it is basically a searcher for your dragons. The Punishment Dragon allows you to shuffle the graveyard and the banished piles back to your deck. And this is for the opponent, by the way. So that's Dragonling. Next up, we have the Wise Lightsworn Archfiend. You can place 1 other Lightsworn card from your hand to the top of your deck, and then you can mill 2 cards. So the one that you sent on the top of the deck will also trigger if you send it to the graveyard, plus an additional 1 card. So if you milled an additional tier elements card, you can fuse into another monster, if you have another material, of course. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can target 1 Lightsworn monster from your graveyard and special summon it to the field. So a pretty good additional fodder that you might use for this effect. And lastly, we have the trap card. Lightsworn Aegis. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you control. Negate their effects until the end phase. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can set this card to the field. So that is basically it. Now with that out of the way, let's move to YugiOh Omega just to check out the 2 versions that I made with this deck. And this is very, very exciting to actually showcase. So let's go. Okay guys, so here we are with the Master Duel deck list. Or one of the Master Duel deck lists that I'm going to showcase to you guys here. So this is Lightsworn Tearlaments version 1. The other version is with the Horus. I'll showcase to you guys that one as well. But first, this one here. So this is basically Tier Elements version for Master Duel with just a spice of Lightsworn. So what we have here is the Punishment Dragon, one of your best cards to actually have with this format. And what I mean by that is because you don't want to run Judgment Dragon with this format because popping the cards on the field might not be that beneficial for you. Having to use the effect of Punishment Dragon just to shuffle the graveyard and the banished pile back to their deck is very significant. This stops like 3 meta decks with this effect. So it will stop Fire Kings, it will stop Snake Eyes, and it will even stop Yubel if ever they want to gain access to their graveyard with any of their cards. Next up, you will have 2 copies of Wolf. Sending this to the graveyard, you spell summon this card immediately to the field, and also a copy of Felis on 1 copy. If you send to the graveyard, you spell summon this card to the field. This cannot be normal summon, by the way, so this might be a little bit of a brick. Nevertheless, you're running tier elements with this, so it's easy enough to send to the graveyard or mill this to the graveyard. Now, with the type of Felis as a tuner and the possibility of another level 4 monster in the field, which of course is typically tier elements. So majority of the tier elements monsters are level 4, or the copy of the Lightsworn monsters are level 4. You can easily gain access to a copy of Minerva on the field which, like I said earlier, you can possibly mill like 6 cards in total with this effect. So pretty good. Also, we're running a copy of Minerva the Exalted Lightsworn. We're also running a copy of Visas Amritara because you can gain access to one spell or trap card that mentions Visa Starfrost. So your targets for this is a copy of Scream, and I think you also have a copy of Tearlaments Solitaire or even a copy of Crime to be added to your hand in case you cannot gain access to it with a copy of your Tearlaments Kitkalas. And the reason why we're also running 3 copies of Wise, because if you have 2 copies of Wise, or if you ever start off with 2 copies of Wise, you can just put it back on the top of your deck and then just mill it. And take note, this is also a tuner. So aside from a copy of Felis, you have 4 tuners that you can actually use with this deck. We're also running a copy of Destrudo. Now, I may have some doubts in using Destrudo with this version, but from time to time, it is an easy access to your Baron of Horror, by the way. So I just went ahead and just added this one to your main deck. If you're going first, you can set up into a copy of Masquerina since you have more materials than usual, into a copy of Appaloosa or not. What else? You can run a copy of the Zombie Vampire though, but I do have some questions with regards to this. Maybe you can run a copy of Photon Lord here. I think that would be much better, because Photon Lord is basically a monster negation. So I do think you can run this, or if you want to run this, go ahead. It's not really half bad. You can also summon a copy of El Shaddai Winda during your opponent's turn, so you can stop most of the meta decks nowadays with just this build. And it is, like I said, very consistent enough with just this build. So I think that is our regular or standard build for the Lightsworn and Tearlaments deck. Let's move on with our Horus one. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so for our Tearlaments Horus Lightsworn deck, this is our build. So we remove some of the cards. We remove the Trivikarma, the Foolish Burial Goods, and added some of the Horus cards like the Emseti, the copy of the 2 copies of the Sarcophagus, and the 1 copy of Happy. The reason why we're running King Sarcophagus here is because this, if you draw into this, you can just basically dump cards to the graveyard. You basically have an access to a copy of the Zombie Vampire to the field. Or if you already have some good millers, you can stop with a copy of number 90, which is a monster negate, which is pretty nice. So the same old stuff as what we have before, but a little bit more. Well, it's still basically consistent. We're lacking 1 card. We're gonna go with IP Masquerina here for the extra deck. So yes, sirree, that is pretty nice to see. We can have a version with this with Super Poly, as what some other decks we have in Master Duel is using, but it's really up to you. For me, 40 cards is just the right amount of ratio for this build. Since we are running the Horus here, we're just running with 2 copies of Wise, which is not half bad. But anyways, that is our 2 Lightsworn versions. You can check out the deck list in the description below. I always post that one for you guys, and we'll have like a test run for this deck by I think the 5th. We'll have a test run with this deck on the 5th, but anywho, I will showcase to you guys what this deck can do with regards to your startup or your starting hand. So let's go for the test run. Okay guys, so here we are with the test run for the deck. So this is the first version that we have without the Horus. So this is Lightsworn Tearlaments just. So we have here a good starter with Rhino Heart, a copy of Sharon, and a copy of Dragonling, plus a copy of Scream. Not half bad, so we can go with this. We have also Ash Blossom in case our opponent drops a copy of Maxine. We use the effect of this, plus Scream, dump 3 cards, and we will dump a copy of Have this to the graveyard, trigger the effect. And since we milled a copy of Dragonling, we can gain access to our Punishment Dragon. To our hand. And we got a copy. Oh, we also got a copy of Trivikarma here. Okay, we'll use that one as well. Not half bad. And we go into a copy of Pelorino, or we can get a copy of the trap card here. We're basically setting this up. So get a copy of Punishment. Now we need to have 4 cards to be banished for Punishment Dragon to be summoned to the field, which is not really like a big issue. So we go for this. Yeah, I think we can use the one on the field. Tell us there, use the effect, and dump a copy. You know what? We can get a copy of Crime here. Now we got already the Screams. We can go for Tearlaments Kashira. Use the effect of DECKLIST and tribute that. Spell some Kashira Tearlaments to the field. Trigger 2. DECKLIST first, and then Tearlament Kashira. Milling a ton of cards. There we go. We milled a really good card. So first of all, we go for Wise. Spell summon a copy of Dragonling to the field, since the wolf is going to be spell summoned to the field. And lastly, we go for a copy of Sharon for our fusion. Either we can go for a Dragostapelia or a copy of Recalus. So Recalus with that will then be summoned. And go for a copy of Dragonling to the field, plus the copy of Wolf. Now, with the copy of Dragonling, you can gain access to this card, and we can just put this one to the graveyard anyway. That's it. That's it. We spell summon the Felis because it was sent to the graveyard. And then we have a tuner, so with this card, we can go for a copy of Minerva. There we go. Now at this point, you need to check your cards in the graveyard if you have exactly 4 cards to banish for Lightsworn. So we have that, we have this. Oh yeah, we have that one on the field, so we need to dump that one. Plus, you can choose not to. We can just dump that one anyway. It's not really like a big issue. Some that first because we'll have additional cards. We'll go for Epic Masquerina with the 2 Wolf. But like I said, it gains you a ton of advantage with this build. We go for a copy of this, banishing a copy of this, and this. So that's exactly 4 Lightsworn cards with different names. Banishing and milling cards. So we mill a copy of that. That's okay. You don't have to do it, and we can spell summon this if you want to cycle back cards from your opponent's graveyard and banish POW. With this, we can go for this. Put that one there. Yeah, let's just dump a copy of Ash there, and we can spell summon a copy of that Dragonling since we have a Lightsworn card in our graveyard. So that's pretty good. An additional body. And we have here, we can go with a copy of this one here first. Time Thief Redoer, and with those cards on the field, we can use this for a copy of SP Little Knight. Or yeah, I think that's basically it. So we have a pretty good board. So anyways, that's what we can do with our starting hand with a copy of the new Lightsworn cards. Let's move on with our Horus one. Okay, so let's go. Okay, doke. So here we are with the Horus Lightsworn Tearlaments deck. So this version is, it's okay though. It's more consistent in milling cards. That's what I can say with this deck. So like I said, if you have the Sarcophagus, it mills. If we have a copy of the Mseti, it also mills, which is pretty good. So we go for here a copy of Mseti, dumping 1 card. We can go with a copy of Talents here, dumping 1 card. We want the Solic because we are starting off our game. So drawing 1 card plus the copy of Sarcophagus. Oh, we got a copy of this one here. Pretty good. I like that. So we can go for this. And then we go for dumping 1 other card. I think we can dump a copy of the Dragonling. Yes, I think we can just dump a copy of Dragonling. There we go. And it will trigger the effect of the Dragonling, gaining access to our Punishment Dragon. So to our hand, so that's one material there that we can banish for our Punishment Dragon. And we can spell summon this, or we can normal summon our Rhino Heart, doesn't really matter. If you want to mill more, you go for the Horus. Go for a copy of the Zombie Vampire. We are running this copy here because we have some level 8s that are pretty good. So that's it. Summon at the field. Go for Zombie Vampire. Mill some cards, and let's see what mill. Spell summon a card. Let's see. So we milled Wise, so we can spell summon the Dragonling to the field. This is an additional monster. Oh, we also milled a copy of Rhino Heart, so we don't have to normal summon. So we save our normal summon for something else important. We go for a copy of this because this is really important, and then we chain block it with a copy of Wise. Spell summon the Dragonling to the field for an additional body. Okay, so there we go. And then we dump a copy of Havlis to the grave so that we can fuse. Use the effect of the Havlis to fuse, and use the effect of Dragonling to send 1 card to the graveyard, which we all know will send a copy of Felis. For this, use the effect of, or summon our DECKLIST to the field. With that, and I think I can just save Reinhardt for the next turn, so we have to use the one on the field. Spell summon the DECKLIST here. Felis will be summoned to the field. There we go. And at this point, we can go for a copy of Minerva. And we can dump 2 more cards from our deck to the grave. So we dump a copy of Wolf and a copy, since we already have the third copy of Dragonling. It's okay though. I mean, it's not half bad. Wolf will be spell summoned to the field. There we go. You can just remove Wolf anyway, so don't worry. Use the effect of this. Yeah, I could just send that one there. Spell summon the copy of Reinhardt. Use that. Mill some cards. We got a copy of this, we'll just mill our opponent's graveyard anyway. So, okay. Yes, we go for a copy of DECKLIST with our mill. There we go. That's good. We actually milled a copy of Sharon there. So DECKLIST will be on the field. Yeah, I can do this. So with that, we mill 4 with different Lightsworn names. Just will summon our punishment for the next turn. We also got the the shufflers again also, so that's pretty good. We also milled a copy of Wolf, which is pretty nice. And I think we can just go directly with this. Sure, we don't have any more use with Minerva. Might as well gonna use it for material. Yeah, that's it. 3 body material, and then we have a Solic with a DECKLIST in the field. And next turn we can just summon them. And we have some shufflers in the graveyard, which is not half bad. And we still have the sarcophagus if you want to summon your Horus monsters to the field. So that is basically what this deck can do, but we still have more testing in our stream this coming the 5th, so check that one out. So this is the end of the segment. I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Goodbye.